In 400 BC, a Persian engineer carved out a remarkable system in the Yaz Desert, capable of keeping ice intact through a summer scorching at 104 degrees Fahrenheit, all without drawing a single watt of electricity. Fast forward to today, the average household in America shells out $2,200 annually on heating and cooling, most of which vanishes into utility company bills. Meanwhile, the exact physics behind that ancient Persian invention has lain dormant in the archaeological record for more than 2,400 years. One technology, tested in 2021 by engineers at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, proved astonishingly simple, yet transformative. Built from gravel and insulation at a cost under $3 per square foot, it could offset 60 to 80% of a home's yearly heating requirements in temperate climates. Peer-reviewed journals have chronicled it since 1978, yet no major American home builder incorporates it into standard construction. Even more striking, a Finnish utility company demonstrated in 2022 that scaling the same principle into a steel silo allows storage of an entire summer's solar energy, releasing it through the harsh Nordic winter at costs that render natural gas a luxury. These examples are not prototypes or fringe ideas. Every system was constructed by hand from rock, sand, and earth, operating for decades, or even centuries, without service contracts, circuit boards, or monthly bills. The underlying physics never shifted. We simply forgot to use it. Number 7 on this list hails from ancient Rome, the Hippocaust. Around 100 AD in Bath, England, engineers devised a floor that radiated warmth for 12 hours after a single fire. No continuous tending was required. The fire, banked in the morning, heated stone tiles that retained and released heat until midnight. The method was elegant in its simplicity. Floors rested on grids of 2-foot-tall stone pillars called pilae. Beneath, hot air from a furnace, or prefernium, circulated slowly through the voids, warming the tiles, which were often 2 inches thick and embedded in dense volcanic material known as opus signinum. Above these lay ceramic tiles, and finally the mosaic surface people walked upon. Volcanic stone's thermal mass density hovers around 2.2 mega per cubic meter per degree Celsius. A 30 by 40 foot Roman bath floor contained roughly 180,000 BTUs, enough to heat a modern 1,500 square foot home for 6 hours without any additional energy input. Romans managed higher temperatures, not through brute force, but by understanding thermal mass. The baths of Caracalla in Rome, completed in 216 AD, cycled 5,600 BTUs per day through a Hippocaust, covering over 100,000 square feet. The system ran continuously for over 3 centuries. By contrast, installing a radiant floor heating system in a 2,000 square foot home today costs between $14,000 and $20,000. Roman builders accomplished comparable results in 30 days using locally quarried stone. They never had a heating bill, only a woodpile. Number 6 is the Finnish sauna. Stone, perfected over a millennium as a thermal battery, shaped the Finnish approach to heat. Traditional saunas did not rely on maintaining a fire while inside. Stones, typically dense basalt or diabase, were stacked in an iron frame above a wood-fired box. Sizes ranged from a fist to a man's head. A sauna for 6 required between 130 and 175 pounds of stone, fired for 2 to 3 hours before use. Only after the fire dwindled to coals would people enter. The science behind it surpasses modern HVAC practices. Volcanic stone holds roughly 0.84 kilojoules per kilogram per degree Celsius. The brief steam released when water hits the stones was deliberate, moderating humidity. Modern electric saunas draw 6,000 to 9,000 watts continuously, yet the stone-based system, once charged, operates without electricity while delivering superior, consistent warmth. Research from the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare in 2018 confirmed that traditional stone saunas produce significantly better cardiovascular outcomes than electric element-based versions. This advantage stems not from ritual, but from the stable thermal output and improved steam quality. Finland, with roughly 3.3 million saunas for a population of 5.5 million, still preserves this tradition in rural areas. The knowledge endured. It is we who forgot. Number 5. The Korean ondol represents a 5,000-year-old innovation in heated flooring, shaping domestic life in 3000 BC in what is now northern Korea. A flat stone floor, heated from beneath, did more than warm a room. It stored heat for 8 to 12 hours, slowly releasing it through the night. The ondol system, literally warm stone, consisted of granite or basalt slabs laid atop raised clay flues that guided smoke and heat from a kitchen fire on one side of the home to a chimney on the other. This arrangement provided silent, even warmth through sleeping areas, transforming the way a civilization rested. In traditional Korean homes, the kitchen fire served a dual purpose. It not only prepared the evening meal, but also sent exhaust beneath the floor, warming the entire sleeping area. No separate furnace existed. No distinct heating fuel was required. That single fire simultaneously charged between 200 and 400 square feet of stone flooring. Families rested directly on the heated stones atop thin rice straw mats with no elevated beds, additional blankets during mild winters, or extra fuel input. The stone absorbed and radiated heat, using 30 to 40% less fuel than modern forced air systems, a system invented long before the Bronze Age. Today, over 90% of newly constructed apartments in South Korea use a modern adaptation: embedded hot water pipes under the floor, applying the same 5,000-year-old principle with contemporary materials and plumbing. Meanwhile, many households still rely on gas furnaces and monthly bills. Here's where frustration sets in. Number 4 on this list, independently examined by engineers at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory in 2021, revealed astonishing results. The report concluded that a system made from gravel and rigid insulation, costing under $3 per square foot, could replace 60 to 80% of a typical North American home's annual heating load in temperate climates. This method has appeared in peer-reviewed engineering journals since 1978. 46 years of documented evidence, yet no major U.S. builder offers it as standard construction. The reason for its obscurity is simple. Gravel lacks a marketing department. Natural gas has one. Number 4, the seasonal gravel pit thermal store operates as a buried battery capable of year-round performance. In 1978, a Swedish engineer calculated a fact largely ignored by the American heating industry. The ground beneath a home absorbs roughly 50% of all summer solar radiation striking the surface above. That energy is free, yet every winter American households burn costly natural gas to heat interiors, despite the ground already holding most of the solution 8 feet below their foundations. The seasonal gravel thermal store resolves this. A pit is dug, filled with clean-washed gravel, and coiled water pipes are inserted. In summer, water circulates from solar collectors through the gravel, charging it with heat. In winter, the stored energy is drawn back via a heat exchanger into radiant floors or radiators. The physics are straightforward. Gravel's volumetric heat capacity measures approximately 1.6 mega per cubic meter per degree Celsius. The Drake Landing Solar Community in Okotoks, Alberta, a 52-home neighborhood, completed in 2007, employs this principle exclusively. Solar collectors on rooftops charge gravel pits each summer, supplying 97% of the community's yearly heating needs. Homeowners spend roughly $200 per year on heating. Neighbors in conventional natural gas homes pay far more. The gravel costs under $800, insulation under $1,200, and piping under $600 each. Total material expenditure remains below $3,000 for a 40-year system with 0 moving parts. A 2021 National Renewable Energy Laboratory analysis verified that seasonal gravel thermal storage delivers heat at a levelized cost between $0.02 and $0.044 per kilowatt hour across 3 decades. By comparison, natural gas in 2024 provides heat at roughly $0.090 to $0.14 per kilowatt hour. Households are paying 3 to 7 times more than necessary, while an alternative solution has rested in journals since Jimmy Carter occupied the White House. Number 3 takes us back to 400 BC to the Persian Yaz Desert, where the Yakshal, a sand and mud dome, kept ice intact through a summer reaching 104 degrees Fahrenheit. This was not fragile ice, barely holding shape. It remained solid through months that would liquefy modern coolers in hours if power failed. The Yakshal, meaning ice pit, relied on 2 principles never combined at scale again. The dome typically rose 60 feet, spanning up to 160 feet in diameter, built from a specialized mortar called sarge, a mixture of sand, clay, egg whites, goat hair, lime, and ash, exhibiting lower thermal conductivity than most modern commercial insulation boards. Thermal stability arose from the insulating dome above and the cool earth beneath, creating an extraordinarily steady buffer. The second principle, passive evaporative cooling, added precision. A tall wall on the south blocked direct sunlight, while wind scoops on the northern side funneled cold night air into the ice chamber. Interior temperatures dipped as low as 14 and 10 degrees Celsius on winter nights, sufficient to freeze water flowing from mountain aqueducts through shallow channels at the pit's base. Each Yakshal produced and stored between 25,000 and 40,000 kilograms of ice per winter season. That ice was then sold at summer markets in Yazd and Kerman, cooling beverages, preserving meat, and aiding fever patients. In 2019, MIT's Department of Architecture studied the Yakshal's thermodynamics, confirming the genius behind this ancient desert marvel. Analysis of the Yakshal revealed that the combination of dome and pit achieved a level of sustained cooling performance unmatched by modern passive cooling in the same climate, except when using $50 per square foot aerogel insulation panels. By comparison, the equivalent cost of constructing the dome with modern materials would be roughly $0.40 per square foot. Remarkably, some original Yakshals in Yazd still stand built 2,400 years ago by engineers who never knew the word thermodynamics, yet mastered every equation behind it. We now reach the two most consequential entries on this list. Technology so effective that the American energy industry had every financial incentive to obscure them. Number 2 was essentially erased from standard U.S. construction practices in 1978. Not because it was unsafe or because it failed, but due to regulations intended to clean up cheap, dirty wood stoves that inadvertently buried a heating method cleaner than almost any developed afterward. Number 1, in 2022, saw a small Finnish utility company run an experiment every major energy company in the United States already knew would succeed, but chose not to perform. The results made headlines in international engineering circles for 4 days before coverage abruptly stopped. Draw your own conclusions as to why. Number 2, the German Kachelofen, was a soapstone masonry stove capable of heating an entire home with a single fire. In a Bavarian farmhouse in 1678, a single fire burned for 2 hours each morning, maintaining indoor temperatures at 68 degrees for the remaining 22 hours, despite cold outdoor conditions. This device was unlike any stove an American would recognize today. It was a thermal battery in masonry form, a floor-to-ceiling structure of mortared soapstone, ceramic tile, and fire brick weighing between 1,300 and 4,000 pounds, depending on room size. The combustion chamber, deliberately small at 12 by 6 inches, burned at extremely high temperatures, far hotter than any conventional wood stove. That intense heat ensured near-complete combustion of wood gases, producing almost no creosote, particulate matter, or carbon monoxide. The surrounding soapstone absorbed the thermal energy during the 2-hour burn. Soapstone's specific heat capacity is 0.98 kilojoules per kilogram per degree Celsius, with a density of 2,160 kilograms per cubic meter. It radiated warmth throughout the room from floor to ceiling, gentle enough to lean against, rather than blasting hot air from vents. One 2-hour fire provided 22 hours of silent radiant heat, using about 40 pounds of dry hardwood per day, at a cost of roughly $4 per day, based on 2,000 pounds per cord at $200 per cord. By contrast, heating the same space with a modern natural gas furnace in similar German conditions costs $9 to $14 per day. The Kachelofen achieves superior thermal comfort at less than half the cost, with no ducts, filters, or service visits required. Over 1 million of these stoves remain in active use across Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. The Finnish Talvivaara soapstone stove, in continuous production since the 14th century, sells for $4,000 to $12,000 installed, and homeowners consistently report fuel savings of 50 to 70% compared to forced air systems. In 1978, early EPA wood-burning emission standards rendered Kachelofen certification in the U.S. commercially unviable. The rules targeted cheap, low-temperature stoves producing the most dangerous emissions, but the ultra-high combustion Kachelofen, cleaner than almost any wood heating system, was caught in the same framework. It was never outright banned. Certification became prohibitively complex and expensive in a nation already committed to natural gas. German ancestors heated their homes more efficiently and spent less than half of what modern Americans do. Number 1, the Watt Jankowski sand battery offers proof on an unprecedented scale. In June 2022, Polarinite Energy, a Finnish company, filled a steel silo in Keina, Finland, with 8,000 tons of ordinary construction sand. Industrial heating elements charge the sand with surplus summer solar and wind electricity, energy that would otherwise have been wasted or sold at negative prices on the spot market. The insulation was sealed and the system left untouched. 4 months later, in October, as outdoor temperatures dropped and the ground began to freeze, the heat exchange circuit was activated. The sand battery started delivering thermal energy to the Watt Jankowski district heating network, warming roughly 300 homes. The sand core still retained 9,500 degrees of stored energy, with no measurable loss over 4 months of sealed storage. Crucially, this is not new technology, nor a modern scientific breakthrough. Sand's heat-storing capability has been known to engineers for millennia. Roman engineers harnessed it in 100 AD, Persian engineers in 400 BC, and Korean engineers in 3000 BC. The principles are ancient, proven, and supremely effective. Today, the knowledge exists. The question is why we choose to ignore it. Please leave your thoughts about this content in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.